So proceeding with our all things we need to do in our dashboard, we've seen how to use MediaSFU API and Sandbox. Now let's continue to key points on the AI credentials and our SIP configuration, how we connect to our SIP tracking number aside our AI orchestration, how do we do our speech to text and the like. So if we go to our AI credentials side, um, you have an option of specifying the various providers to use. Now, if you are so not sure of um, which provider to select and the like and how efficient the working with SFU, you can go to uh, one of three options. I'm just gonna hop there quickly before coming back here. So the very first one is agents dot domain agents.mediasfu.com. You probably have a link so from the demo side on an agents.mediasfu.com. You have MediaSFU's this sample implementation of agents. Now, just keep in mind, these are not agents that run in your meeting room. Typically, you have for telephony, the agents in the meeting room, you see the agent as one of the participants, and they respond to the SIP caller or SIP calling. You also have agents that run outside the meeting room, and they're particularly for interest to people doing things that would concern everyone. Think of transcription, think of maybe sentiment analysis or kind of posture or gesture detection. So MediaSFU has telephone agents that run in your meeting room that's produced to the room, and then you have your regular agents that run completely outside the meeting room. So this is an example, but the orchestration and flow is kind of the same. So uh, maybe this is not a bit optimized, but it's up to you to kind of play around with which providers to use and see how they perform in the MediaSFU context. So there are three endpoints: the default agents.mediasfu.com, which is displayed now. Then there is the advanced endpoints, where you can get to change some of the providers using MediaSFU's own UI key. So, so this is kind of limited options because we are not providing key for almost providers, but at least it gives you a couple of options to try right out without providing an API key, whether to use DeepGram, AI Whisper, Assembly AI, and the like. Uh, you can think of LLMs as well, couple in there, as well as the text to speech models. Your ultimate endpoint side is the playground. So if you go to MediaSFU's playground, um, this has the option for you to play around with almost all of our supported providers. So you have all these options in here, the voice, LLM, all these options, as well as the text to speech, all these options. All you need to do in most cases is to hit the config, and then you just need your API key um, to send to the provider. You could probably maybe play around with specific language or model, then with the LLMs, for example. Aside that, all you need is giving your flow. For example, you want to just focus on voice as an example, and then maybe you just want to optimize the transcription part to see what's your fastest option. So instead of full conversation, you go to transcription only, and then from transcription only, you just need to give us the key for your speech to text. And you just run that for some time and see how that turns out. If you want to switch to full conversation, then with an LLM, and then back to speech if you want to, you still have an option to say, okay, I'm going to stop at the LLM side. I know my transcription is fast. Now, what are they now in terms of the LLM? So probably just text only, so that doesn't do any speech output. Then finally, you can just change to your final full, which is written speech. So that kind of gives you a nice interactive playground to play around with. At the end of the day, it's your design to pick a trade-off of speed and stencil and as well as nice accurate responses. But MediaSFU just orchestrates a real-time fast media flow to make sure that happens effortlessly. Okay, so let's just switch side to the dashboard. And on the dashboard, like we've seen in the demo for the Agents Playground, um, MediaSFU just needs your AI credentials, uh, AI API key. Still, you could modify a couple of things, but then let's proceed with just say creating new credentials. Um, you can do this both sides on Sandbox and on the dashboard. I'm gonna do one on this, two in the dashboard and then one on the Sandbox, just as a demonstration. So the quick fill without expanding the quick fill options, mostly you just need your API key. Most options providers don't need your auth token, and then you just pick any nickname you want. This is case sensitive, but I just go with nickname that you would probably easily remember and then use. Another very key one is the type. Now, this can default to vision or voice. Like I mentioned, the agents not limited to telephony, so kind of probably vision or multimodal agents. And MediaSFU telephony, if you're using it for telephony, you make sure you always default this to voice, else it's not going to be able to pick it up and your flow will be uh, dysfunctional. So let's just quickly start with, first I'm going to start with my, um, let's just start with the NLM for now. Or for example, if I switch to text to speech, you're gonna realize you have options of Google and then almost everything you ever need listed in there for you. And if you do quick fill, it's gonna fill that section. So uh, same with something like speech to text, it's gonna change to those providers if you click those options. Okay, so now let's start with LLM. So LLM, um, I'm gonna go with ChatGPT, and to go with that, I'll just hit the quick fill defaults. When I hit the quick flow default, it kind of populates most of the things I'll need. You can still go on to edit a couple of things from here. Maybe you have like a fine-tuned model, for example, something specific to your field, or mechanics or roofing or something. You want to change this and to change, or as this idea, what you can particularly not change here is your service key. So your service keys are identified for different providers, and you would want anything related to using ChatGPT or OpenAI as that in terms of LLM. So you can change around this stuff, and these are things we've tested to work. Of course, you can go with a lot of max tokens and your temperature change. So here, the only thing I need is my API key from ChatGPT, and I'm gonna pick the nickname to conclude it. So I'm gonna head here, and I'm just having a disposable API key for now. Let's grab this. Just gonna head up to my dashboard and then paste that here. And then nickname, I'm gonna say um, test, test LLM uh, in AI. Like I mentioned, this is case sensitive, so you just want to make sure you're getting it all right when you're referring to it. So now I'm just gonna do save, um, sorry, create, and I will just need to confirm I need to create this. Okay, so I have my LLM configured. And the next one I need is my speech to text and my text to speech. So if I proceed to, uh, now I'm just going to switch to Sandbox as an illustration of that as well, like I mentioned. So I'm going to go to the Sandbox, and this time around, I want to go to the AI credential sandbox. In my AI credential sandbox, I want to quickly just go to modify parameters. It pre-generates some payload. Uh, but this time around, I want to just change everything before I go there. So I'll be using DeepGram for my speech to text and text to speech. So let's go with uh, disposable DeepGram API key here. And so in my sandbox, all I need to indicate is my API key. Sorry, I'm gonna go with the show quick fill options. Just quickly get that for this time around. I'm gonna do speech to text first, and then I want DeepGram. Of course, you can use other options. I'm gonna focus on DeepGram and just select apply configuration. And in here, everything is here as I want. If I want a language change also, I can just modify from here. The key is make sure the type is voice for your telephony agent. And if you are creating for a sub user, MediaSFU has kind of sub user system addition to a user, you can see that on the dashboard. Just indicate that yeah, this I'm creating for a main account. So I'm just gonna leave that. Then I'm gonna paste my API key here. Then I'm gonna paste. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pick a nickname. I'm gonna say test. This is test, and then I'm sure this is the text to speech. So I'm gonna say test. I'm gonna change to the diagram, diagram also. Also, this is test, and this is speech to text. Okay, so this is the nickname I've picked. So first, it's not conflicting with another nickname you have. That's good to go. So I have this now. If I hit submit, um, I should have the details I need in here. So I'm just gonna copy this, and just as demonstrated earlier, I'll go to my API, and then I'm gonna paste the JSON in there, and I'll just need my API key and an API username. So go back to dashboard, probably open my API keys in a new tab. Just open here, and then just grab this, and back to the sandbox. We'll proceed with pasting that here. And my API username is just check to be sure. Okay, then all I need to do is to submit and run. So I do submit and run, and I check my response. I'll have confirmation that it's actually created, 201 for created, and then you have the details in there. Okay, so that's just a demonstration of how to use MediaSFU's HTTP endpoint to programmatically create, get, update, and all other supported uh, changes for your AI credential. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and in here, if I go back to the AI credentials side, you would realize I have two now, one for speech to text and then one for uh, my LLM. Now the very last one is a text to speech. I'm playing sound back to the caller. So this I'm gonna just do on the dashboard, as we've seen from both sides already. So I just need my API key. Yeah, so using Bigcom. So yeah, I'm gonna go to just create new, and then from here, I just all I need is one my API key and a nickname. So nickname, um, I'm gonna go with. Sorry, I still need to pick up Bigcom. So I have to go to text to speech. option, and then I need to use the deep ROM option. Okay, so I'm gonna click through the deep ROM, and like I mentioned, it's up to you to change the model to any kind of voice and sound you want. The rest will probably just recommend you leave it as such. And type, just always make sure this is voice. Then, um, I mean, for telephony, and the case that we need to be able to resolve it. For your vision or multimodal, anything outside telephony, it's fine, whatever you specify. So for the nickname, this is just going to be something I pick up. I'll just say um, Dipcom, Dipcom test speech. Sorry, this is the text to speech, CTS. Okay, so the only thing I need to do next is to just submit this, hit the create button, and I'll have to just confirm this. So essentially, I have three credentials now. One for my text to speech, one for my speech to text, and one for my LLM. You could add more. Could have numerous credentials. Uh, I think a max of 20 or 50 thereabouts. At the end of the day, you just make sure when you get to our SIP configuration side, you indicate the ones you want to use specific number, which you could have numerous numbers. Else, MediaSFU just default to reading one of these. As usual, all of this you can easily control. With status, you probably want to temporarily turn off something, turn it to inactive, and MediaSFU is never going to make use of it for running a request. So that completes second major part of the illustration. The very last one will be on the SIP tracking number provider. How do we connect that to MediaSFU and connect MediaSFU to that? And how do we indicate this? We have in here in the SIP tracking config to make our model just run.